There for Lucy ba? Alright. about you?
This is better.
Other side?
Yeah.
Okay, right in the middle.
You can just.
Yeah. You got it?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Bye. If you know, you know. What the hell? What did I write? What's up? Alright. I don't even know how to drive. Hi there. Let me turn around. Hello, Renee.
Liam. Ok, espérate. Ven acá. Do you know how to
I'm not good at this stuff. But yep. Goes through here.
all the way to the other side?
Oh, okay. So how can I have a watch? Let me get to the other side.
And then this one goes to the back of my feet. Vaya, you are good. You got it? No, sit. No, Liam. No, Liam. Okay. Calm down. Liam. We have to go, Nene. You don't want to go?
Okay, just hang on to this.
Oh my gosh. Liam. What's going on?
it some slack. You know, I give it some slack or no?
Huh?
Like give him extend it,
Stand?
like make it longer.
Yeah, I can make it open. Oh my god. Wow.
That should work. I'll fix that in a second.
Are you serious? Wow, Liam. You want water? You want water? No, can I have it? Can I have it? Dámela. Dámela. Ay, me voy a cagar en tu padre 50,000 veces. Cojones. Sí, en tu padre.
Is it not working? Just push it back.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Don't normally do that.
You've been listening to Ozzy Osbourne first.
You still mad?
Yes, everybody's dead. Now I finally have time to read, and his fucking glasses break. Oh, you know,
Heartbreak. That is
heartbreak.
You know what is what? I thought you were gonna say it. What you're like? His wife's nagging him, his work. Everyone's making fun of him. She actively crossed out all the words in a book with a marker. So when he opened his book, he couldn't read. That's how horrible his wife was to him. She didn't throw his books away. She taunted him to let him go sit down in his chair and open it, and it's just a marker in every sentence,
It's
which is
even
so
worse.
painstaking.
Like, there's a word I want to use that I can't. It's like, you know what word I'm talking about, which you know, when my first wife said she wanted a divorce, I used that word. She threw a remote control at my head. But that
She's
word,
a real she's a real cad. She's a real cad.
real. So she says this. She goes, "Honey, would you read me some poetry from your book?" He goes, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah, I'd love to hear some poetry." Oh my gosh. He's like, "There's such great works of poetry in this book, Keats and Shelley." And then he opens it up, and it's she black marked all, like crossed out all the words. Like, that is, my God. If he, right in that moment, said, "I want a divorce," there would not be one judge that would take her side. Not one.
Yes. There's people who say their significant other, like, "Oh, my boyfriend, my girlfriend," they're crazy. That chick was crazy. Not just throwing his books away, not tearing them up, actively going through each page to cross out each line is a huge thing, and then setting him up. "Oh, let me relax. Oh, open your book, read to me." He goes, "That's my favorite thing. Oh, maybe we're gonna rekindle this romance. Maybe I won't have these dreams where I wake up, I'm choking the pillow and it's you. This is our time. This is it." We finally saw eye to eye. All I want to do is read. I'm a good guy. I don't cheat. I don't go out and drink. This is like, what can I read? And you open it up, and just to punch him right in the stones, even bigger than before. You know what? She's probably long dead, which is fine. But from the nuclear bomb first. But then time also. But you know what? I genuinely, even as a kid, I loved reading. I'm a big reader. I didn't sleep a lot, so I would read books, and I saw so much in common with this guy who was Burgess Meredith, who permanently looks 90 years old even when he's like 40 or whatever. It's so funny. And I was like, "Hey man, oh wow, a Twilight Zone ends where a guy wins?" Oh my God. Oh, and then you hear such a tiny crunch. It just goes. And he's like, wait. Then he puts them on, and you go, no. Oh,
And he's
heartbreak.
crying.
The
It's like,
bad guy
it's
gets to
just
come up.
fair.
He wasn't the bad guy.
Yeah, I
He
mean,
was a little bit of a bad guy, but not one of the ones who's usually doing really bad stuff. Right?
no, he wasn't.
He
And
did
that
wish for
poor
the
guy
world to
forever-
end so he could read his book. But yeah.
Not a guy can't see. So I would have nightmares about what that guy's life must have been like from that moment on. He couldn't see. Like,
What is that like? You're walking around Earth that is over with, and you can't see anything. Like, what do you? I would just like, you just wait to starve to death. That sucks.
that's it. He's gonna have to. He was gonna starve to death, right? Because he can't find food.
Yeah, and it's not even a quick death. You got to sit around for a while before you starve. Like, man, that sucks. Like, even his house is in rubble, so he doesn't even know where. Like, there's no pantry to go to. Like, he can't see. He probably just sees, and everything's rubble anyway. He's screwed.
Yeah,
He
he's
didn't deserve
fine.
that.
But the only thing that is kind of head scratching is how the world is flattened from nuclear war. But that library, the books are fine. Like the paper is fine.
Don't
That's the
you
only thing
dare
that
look too far into this guy who begged for a nuclear war that came. How dare you?
All right,
It's
let's
like-
get.
I'm watching the Three Stooges with my dad. He's like, that really took me out of it. Oh, that one pipe, not the chainsaw, the golf clubs, and getting hit by the car. Getting his head cut off in a vice. No, that one, the bowling ball wasn't real. Okay, got it. Yeah, okay, that's the one thing that took you out of it.
I sound like just such a wrestling fan right now. All right, so let's do our top 10 horror movies, and then we're gonna get to the Nation. The Nation is crazy this morning. All right, we'll go with number 10. My number 10, Nick, Dead Alive from 1991.
supposed to get bus.
Going to see this movie, and I was actually thought I was going to see that movie Dead Again, which was some kind of like romantic comedy or something where I went out on a date, and it turned out to be Dead Alive. And the girl who I went with, when the movie was over, I couldn't have been happier and talking about how great the movie was, and she was completely disgusted by it. So
Wow.
we never went out on another date after that. That was the first and last date. But Peter Jackson, who went on to do all the Lord of the Ring movies, Dead Alive from 1991, one of the most, really one of the most gory, like over-the-top horror movies that you could ever imagine. Dead Alive.
What was the best, goriest part? Like, what was the best gross thing of that movie? Do you remember any details?
Yes, when the mother's dead, but she doesn't realize it yet, and she's eating pudding, and like her like ear falls off into the pudding.
Be right there. Outline the THWNKS.
Hi there, for Angel. Hi, how are you? Damn, I should ask you for something.
Oh my god, I have my drinks hustle.
Hey, not a problem. Yeah, yours look better.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like a bubble tea here. If you ever swing by, you should try.
Yeah,
Can I take a candy?
go ahead.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat. I'm just celebrating post Halo.
Mmm.
No, I still have some remainder. That's why.
Wow.
So much. At first, I didn't even think 2 boxes was enough. I guess it was. What'd you get?
Oh, what do you mean? Like
The bubble tea? Sure, bubble tea or the food?
Yeah, it's like some milk tea with boba.
Okay, nice.
And then there's like, yeah, box lunch.
Okay.
They have a lot of Asian food in that food court.
Okay. I only stepped into food basics like once or twice there. Not really. I'm gonna go inside there. It's hard to stop, hard to park anywhere there, really.
I know. Well, I used to live there. We
Yeah.
have a car park, but we don't really pay. The truth is.
I don't want any more tickets. I already have enough.
Oh, I know how it feels, yeah. That fear.
Yeah, it's just a waste of time. These stupid red light cameras are annoying. Or whatever, speed cameras. You go like 10 over, you get a ticket.
Really?
Yeah.
I seriously hope I don't get any tickets. But don't I warn you when there's camera ahead?
There is one, I know. I'm only going like 44. But like if I go like 52, they give you a ticket. It's like, I wasn't even going that fast.
44 is not fast at all.
No. Some places I'm in the 30 zone, I'm going like 43. I'm like, I'm not speeding.
You got a ticket?
Yeah.
That's just unlucky.
Yeah, it's like,
And you know there's a camera ahead?
no, sometimes I don't know because I'm usually in and out of streets, right?
Right.
So I don't even see them.
They're here to trap you.
Yeah, they're just trying to.
trap out money. That's
Yeah,
what it
trap
is.
money. It's money trap.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where it's going.
Yeah.
Some of it I don't even pay. I'm just like, fuck it. When I'm ready, I'll pay you.
I feel I haven't paid for mine either. I mean, I asked for what do you call it, a dismissal?
Yeah.
Because they towed my car all the way from here to Etobicoke. And then they gave me a ticket on top of that.
That's rough.
Yeah.
It's a couple times where I went to court. One of them, the judge was like, cool, he threw it out. And then,
For speeding?
no, that was a red light camera. He just threw it out. I was like, okay. He must have been having a good day. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to say anything. He just threw it out.
Oh.
And then the other one was a lady judge, of course. And I was like, I was only going 43. And by the way, it looked like my car was parked. And then she's like, you should have explained it better, so we're not gonna dismiss it. I was like, I'm not used to this whole judge motherfucking crap. Do I look like a lawyer to you? Well, you're supposed to appoint one. Well, that costs money.
Right.
Whatever makes them. It's just so many.
Yeah.
Any plans for the day?
Yeah, I'm visiting my friend.
Nice.
So that's about it. Sunday is just to chill. You shouldn't have planned for Sunday, you know?
Yeah, I agree. You get drunk like crazy on a Saturday night, and then you chill on Sunday.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
What about Saturday night though? Go hard or you gonna chill?
Oh, you gotta go hard, I think. You gotta have a chill Saturday night and like have fun and drink. Or Sunday, you're more like, I don't really need to drink, but I really want to eat food and chill.
Oh, I really feel that. And smoke weed.
And that too. Or if you want to go like bowling or something, you want to go out to eat, watch a movie, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever.
Have a cat. Spend some time with your cat. Or your dog.
Yeah, I have a dog, so I chill with him.
Yeah, see, Sunday is pet day.
Yeah. Well, I try to. I gotta make money.
That's true.
But he's with my parents, so he's fine. Uber drop off?
Hello? What? I'm here. What's the bus code? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm holding a lot of stuff. Can you hurry, please? Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Stupid long jackets. We gotta fix that headrest. I love the bubble tea.
The best gross thing of that movie. Do you remember any detail?
Yes, when the mother's dead, but she doesn't realize it yet, and she's eating pudding, and like her like ear falls off into the pudding, and the guy eats it. Like that's Dead Alive, amazing. or the priest who turns like the priest who's fighting off the zombies. Like I kick ass for the Lord, and he's like fighting all those zombies.
All right, that's pretty good. I like that. That's a good line.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't have as much homework done as 1991. This guy.
That's
but
right.
I'm remembering what I remember, and I jotted them down. 10 for me. Rosemary's Baby. Old school.
Oh, awesome.
It's set up like one of those Hitchcock movies that's like a play, to where it's just like there's just 2 or 3 settings, and everyone's just kind of constantly in her apartment, and it's like it's so few tricks and lighting and like the what would CGI be eventually down the line. It's just the plain story and the just setting up as you start to realize what's happening is this entire apartment complex is slowly trying to take this baby and rebirth the Antichrist. And it's when it's those old movies where it's good and all the characters are believable, but there's no crazy effects. And I think I was like, man, this movie has like no effect. And at the end, there's like a crazy light, like a little lighting thing that's very, very to 100 years old. But when you don't need that, the story is great. And I love it. Everybody was just giving her the different things to take and what to have as she slowly realized she's about to give birth to a demon seed. So I really love stuff that can look like it can be a play, like Dial M for Murder or something. So that's one of my favorite ones. Good one.
Yeah, and you just see her descent into like insanity. Like,
yes.
Like it just and then
slow burn to absolute insanity, and then realizing it's wonderful for me.
Yeah, so that's a great one. Number 9, and I'm interested if you have this gentleman on your list at all, and that's Bruce Campbell's Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi, 1987. Right. Evil Dead 2, again, very much like Dead Alive, just over-the-top gore, but likable characters. You fall in love with Bruce Campbell in this movie. You root for Bruce Campbell. Some really good scares, some good jump scares, but really great, just like, for its time, I thought, just innovative camera work and angles and the way it's filmed and shot. But one of my all-time just fun movies, Evil Dead 2.
I got Evil Dead as my 7 because it led to Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness and all the awesome stuff. And it did have some like archaic stunts and effects that I really liked, and it just started. I'm a huge Bruce Campbell guy. I love Ash and Evil Dead. I love all the stuff he does. So I picked part 1 because it's the low budget one, and and even though 2 is one of those rare sequels that is really fun and good, I like Evil Dead 1 kicked it off, and I read Bruce Campbell's book, and he talked all about it, him and Raimi, going through all the scenes and all the stuff they had to go through. And then for part 2, they got the budget and the money, and then they still made a good movie. I absolutely respect it. But Evil Dead 1, I like, because it kicked it all off, and that's when, when everyone's making cheap movies, and you don't know if 1% of them are going to survive. Still going today, and I think I saw the newest one a couple months ago or last year too. So they're still friggin' making them, and they're making another one. So clearly that franchise is doing pretty well.
Okay, so that's your 7. What's your 9?
9 was Battle Royale. Do you know what that is?
I have never. I don't know if I know that.
It's they take 9th grade students and they take them to an island and they leave weapons and everything around, and it's from maybe like the early 2000s, I think, or you know what, it's probably way earlier than that. And it's almost like, I've never seen Hunger Games, but it's something along those lines to where you're just fighting to be the last one alive. So they took all these kids that are like in classrooms and they dropped them in an island with weapons, and it is gory kills and crazy, and it's very Lord of the Flies, taking things out and everybody's killing each other, and it's towards, it's number 9, so it's not one of the greatest ones ever, but it's a good, fun movie, and eventually you're watching children kill each other, which is pretty wild, but it's good and gross too. It's a good story.
All right, so that's a Japanese horror movie, and you're right, it's from 2000, so I've never heard of that movie, so now I got something that I definitely have to watch. 8 for me, and I got a lot of older movies on my list, obviously.
I was trying not to do all old ones.
I'm trying. And number 8, and this one has a killer soundtrack. Motley Crue, except on this soundtrack. Demons from 1985.
Okay.
It's Italian horror movie, and I love it. It takes place in a movie theater, and man, just everything about it. Again, the jump scares, the kills, just the atmosphere, and the music is killer. Demons from 1985 is number 8.
I love when you got good music in there too. That makes those fun. That's like those Slumber Party Massacre movies. I think maybe part 2, where he's got the guitar and it's like a fun soundtrack where it's like it's a scary slasher, but you're still like laughing or something. I don't know. Okay. My number, what am I at? 8 or 6?
8.
8 is Two Sisters, but it's another Asian film. Like, you have to read at the bottom, and it makes me feel smarter when I'm reading it, because I ran out of American horror ones, so I'm like trying all these different countries and reading it alone. But it's Two Sisters, and I think the mom comes back from a mental institution, and it's one of those ones to where they're in this house and you're not sure what's happening, you're not sure what's a reality or a dream, but eventually like crazy things are happening, and then it goes back and shows you that one of the sisters was never there, and it was just pictured in her mind the whole time, and it went so crazy that you didn't know what was really happening. And it's one of those ones where it recaps it and brings it back to you. So it's kind of like not shot out of order like a Memento, but it is one of those ones where you have to think the whole time, and you're like, oh, now that I think about it, she was just talking to a wall there. We never saw who she was talking to, so she hallucinated her sister being alive, and it's crazy, and there's like all this symbolism and a crazy like a wee little switch at the end that has you realize that, oh, she was dead the whole time, and there's just a body rotting there, which is pretty great.
All right, so and that's your 8. Now it's 7. Now 7, you already said the first Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's first Evil Dead with Bruce Campbell. For me at 7, I thought this would actually be higher on my list, but it's still on my top 10. Suspiria. Dario Argento's Suspiria. I mean, as close to a masterpiece as you could get. Beautifully shot, the colors. It's just a gorgeous movie. So those are our 7s. My 6 I have, and this reminds me of a Twilight Zone, and that's Carnival of Souls from 1962. Okay. And it's funny because this movie came out during the run of the Twilight Zone. None of the actors or anybody that was associated with this movie did anything after it. It's kind of crazy where there's all these myths and stories about the woman who starred in the movie, like is almost like a heart, like nobody knows anything about her. They can't trace her. They can't find her. She never did any other acting credits other than this movie.
Ooh.
But Carnival of Souls,
Spooky.
Spooky is the best way to describe Carnival of Souls. It's like a 90-minute Twilight Zone episode, and the ending is a bit of a punch to the gut. Great atmosphere, obviously black and white. Carnival of Souls at number 6 for me.
Nice. I have a movie. I had to double check. It's Norwegian, and I believe so I'm reading this. It's Neighbor, but it's next door is the English translation. And it's this guy just lives in just live in an apartment complex, and a next door neighbor moves in, and it's like a babe, and he's like, oh, it's cool, and it becomes this, you don't know what he's thinking, and you don't know what's actually happening, and like he sees her like, yeah, and she's like, come on over, and being like sultry to him, and being like, a typical old school horror thing of like, hey, come on over, like maybe you're gonna get killed, we'll see. And he's imagining all these different things, and this whole time it was a next door neighbor and her friend. And eventually there is some really, it becomes sexually explicit with some crazy hammer beating during physicality, which is amazing. But the story is so great because it's very similar to the two daughters one that I was just talking about. When it comes to be the big reveal at the end was he had seen the neighbor, but he was not really going over and becoming friends with her because he was constantly hiding in his house, and he had this shock that someone moved in ever since his mother had passed away. And it comes down to he's having all these visions, but you think this movie's progressing and they're becoming boyfriend and girlfriend and they're getting physical, but it turns out he had just shocked his system the day his mother died, and he's been keeping her in his bed and going to sleep next to her, and there's flies all around and maggots, and you realize that he had never even, he had waved hi to this one lady, and then his entire brain took off, and it all makes sense. I'm not explaining it that great, but it's so beautiful that the story all checks out, that day when he thought someone had moved in, his mother had passed away, and it broke his brain for the day, and then he's just tucking in this corpse that had been dead for months, and it all was screwing with his brain and having this entire story that tied in to beating his mother to death, where a sex scene where he's hitting someone with a hammer, and it was killing her, and it was it's beautiful. It is Norwegian, and the translation to English is Next Door. Great story, great twist at the end. Oh,
I just wrote it down. This is amazing.
It's hard to find that one. I had it on DVD a long time ago, and I went to find it online to buy it somewhere, and it's really difficult. And someone found a special secret link on YouTube somewhere, and I rewatched it, and it was 10 out of 10.
All right, I'm gonna have to find that one. You got me on a quest. All right, number 5. Mine's are more mainstream.
I got some. That's mostly mainstream. I got 2 or 3. Yeah. I could have done 10.
No, but I'm saying but there's nothing wrong
Japanese
with that.
ones, and it would have been my favorites. I just couldn't find all the titles. But
but this is good though. I like this because I'm learning from you. This is awesome. All right, my number 5 is a movie we talked about earlier. So I know time is short. I don't want to get too bogged down. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original. I mean, and then you're talking about that opening, even the opening narration, which kind of ruined it for me when I found out later it was John Larroquette that did the opening narration.
What a crazy! I never knew that. That's really
you didn't know that?
Trivia.
The opening narration is John Larroquette.
Now I have to just rewatch the first 2 minutes just to laugh.
And then, it's crazy because that opening narration with the flash photography of the victims and what they found at this grave site because they dug up the graves. But John Larroquette's opening narration is so creepy that now I fast forward through the opening narration because now that I know it's ruined because I know it's John Larroquette. So, all right, you're number 5.
Number 5, I think here, Eraserhead. Has anyone ever seen it?
Wow,
I only recently saw it during the COVID times where everything was shut down. My brother came to live with me, and we watched a movie or 2 every night for 6 months. So we got down and dirty to some old school stuff, like one of the first movies ever made. But Eraserhead, I finally got it, and because Ryan, my brother's a lot smarter than me, we pieced together like what was really happening, and we still don't even know how it went. But it was a very interesting, weird movie with a little wiggly baby monster in it. Pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw that movie, I think I was like a freshman in high school. Like, it was like one of those movies that everybody said you had to see. And when I first saw it, I was so confused and had no idea what was going on. I hated it, but when I go back and I watch it now, I love it just because it's so absurd and so out there. It's so crazy. So that's a good one. All right, number 4, and this may be number 1 on a lot of people's list, but it's a classic. I love it. I never looked at Roger Ebert the same way again because he completely hated this movie.
Oh, Gremlins 2?
And it's not Gremlins 2, and it's not Howard the Duck either. But this movie is a classic. It was a box office bomb when it first came out, but now some people regard this as the greatest horror movie ever made, and that's John Carpenter's The Thing, 1980.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's very. I hear fun things about John Carpenter every day, quotes of his, or he just wants to like party, and he goes, I took this money for the script, but the things that he liked are the good stuff. And The Thing, I famously was not getting a cult following, was not making any money, and now everybody talks about it. Like it's like hip to talk about it in 2024, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's great. That's great. You're number 4.
One more weird one, and then I'll get all the mainstream stuff. It's not even weird. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Do you know what that is?
I do not. Is that an old?
It is over 100 years old, and it's almost shot like it's hard to explain. It's like a hypnotist, and he brainwashes this guy to be. But it's like a silent movie, and it is the sets of it are so interesting and spooky. And it was like a new style of like a moving set or like zooming the camera through a lens that pulled back. It was like no crazy effects, but they were making it with cardboard and setting up like things in the distance and things in the foreground. And it was all just like on a painting and moving stuff. And it's over 100 years old. It's spooky as hell. It's silent. And it's almost like when you watch those old Marilyn Manson or Rob Zombie videos, it's like the black and white footage of like a carnival or something. And that whole movie is shot that way. It's almost like 100-year-old Nightmare Before Christmas with all these moving pieces. And it's like an hour long. It's really spooky and weird. And it could be scary even 100 years later. But it's a cool story, too, about this guy like being hypnotized and he's brainwashed and he's taken over and they're killing people in the middle of the night. And it's really spooky, cool, weird thing. And it's I think the reason I heard about it was like in the Nick Cage movie where he plays Nick Cage, he references the movie and my brother and I watched it. So great movie.
Okay. All right. I love it. You've given me a lot of homework here.
Get into normal stuff in a second.
Okay. No, this is, listen, I love that you got a lot of these international and obscure movies. I think that's fantastic. My number 3, Reanimator. 1985. Listen, one of the best scream queens of all time in this movie, also in From Beyond. Jeffrey Combs in the lead is absolutely creepy and fantastic. And again, this is another one of those. It's a slow burn. It's a really good story. And then the last 30 minutes of this movie is just batshit crazy. They throw everything at the wall, and like. There's one scene in particular, which I don't want to describe, but if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where it's like, no, they're not really going there, and yes, they go there, and it's just like one of those amazing motion picture moments that will stick with you for the rest of your life. Reanimator at number 3.
Reanimator is great, and did they make a couple of sequels? They made at least one.
They did. They made a bunch. They made a bunch of sequels, but nothing compares to the first one.
As always, that's the case. That's a good one. I think I grew up watching that. I think my dad would put that on once a month, and we'd watch Reanimator. What do we have? 3?
Yeah, 3.
3. Old school, black and white, nice little twist. Psycho. Great movie.
Yep. A
fun one. It's almost like an episode of Alfred Hitchcock. But you get the nice little twist that he's dressing up as the mother's dad, the chair turnaround, and it's just the the non-cool effects of just a skeleton with a wig on and a lady sweater or something. But it's such a fun thing, and there's a million awesome Hitchcock quotes out there, and he has a brain that makes like good wrestling thinking. And he's like, if you produce a gun, you do this. If you have, he has a quote. He goes, if you put a bomb under a table, and there's two people sitting at dinner, and the person at dinner goes, the bomb's gonna go off in 5 minutes. They know the bomb's going to go off, and they're going to talk, or they're going to be nervous and figure it out. And he goes, if you put two people at a table, and there's a bomb under the table, and it's going to go off in 5 minutes, and only the audience knows that, it changes the entire outlook of watching what they're doing. They're like, oh my God, why are you wasting your time on this? Why are you doing this? And there's just such beautiful storytelling and pieces with him just on a Broadway stage set without having to do all the stuff. I love so many different movies of his. Rope is another good one. It's like, it's all on if you can do it all on a stage without the effects, you got a great story. So Psycho, old school classic one for me.
Yeah, and Rope and Rope and Psycho's a great one. Rope is one of those movies. It's not a horror movie. It's a thriller, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies. And they did that, Nick, almost in one complete shot. There's no cuts in it at all, and there's only, I think, at a couple points in the movie, the screen goes dark because that's where they were changing the film. Yeah. Because they almost do it as it's a play, and again, perfect example what you're talking about, the bomb underneath the table, because the body is in that chest, and you know it from the minute the movie starts, and the whole 90-minute run of that movie, you're like, the body's right there, the body's right there, and and there's so many scenes where somebody's about to open up the lid to the chest. You're like, no, like, it's one of the Jimmy Stewart's. It's just one of the all-time greatest. Alfred Hitchcock, a genius. All right, number 2 for me, The Exorcist. You can't put a list this together and not have The Exorcist either near or at the top. Linda Blair, The Exorcist still scares the hell out of me. And the scariest scene to me is the priest and his dead mother when he goes into the room and she's sitting at the edge of the bed. That scene always scares the hell out of me, but The Exorcist is amazing.
Exorcist is incredible in a movie in 2024, when you can be 40 or 50 or 60 years old and watch it with the lights off and say you're me and you live alone and you're just scared just enough that it's real. You got a damn good movie. I love that. My 2 is Nosferatu, because that image is so spooky that even now when I look it up, I'm like, you know what? That is the old school one. I know there's a new one coming out or something next year or this year or whatever. But like, it is so old school, and the movements, that when the cameras aren't, they're not 4K like they are now. There's just little stop motions in between it, and the look in his eyes, and the spookiness of the shadows walking down hallways. That's another spooky one. It doesn't totally scare me like it did as a kid, but I love how creepy someone can look back then when effects were nowhere near what they are today. I love that. Old school classic one.
Yeah, and you know what? A movie that almost made my list. It's funny you said Nosferatu, but the 1979 version of Nosferatu, which is just amazing and done well. Another movie I wish I put on my list, it just missed, was Salem's Lot. Stephen King's Salem's Lot, because the obviously the vampire in that it's tremendous, and it's fantastic. And that was a made for TV movie too, Salem's Lot. But all right, my number 1. Anybody that knows me knows that this is not only my number 1 horror movie, but my all-time favorite movie. Period. And that's the 1978 Dawn of the Dead, George A. Romero.
Nice.
It breaks every rule, because like you said, for me, every movie needs to be 90 minutes. This movie's over 2 hours, and there's versions that are up to 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and I devour it. I love every scene, every frame, every second of this movie. Ken Faree in the lead is a total badass, and to me, the ultimate badass in any movie. George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, number 1. Greatest zombie movie of all time. My all-time favorite movie.
That's a great call. Love that one. And that's another one that was on the maybe pile with 75 other ones, by the way. Yes. But my number 1 is going to be a nice